And I was like, so what happens if I can't make it over? And he's just like, well, probably have to get a helicopter to save us. And I was like, oh my God, I have to actually do this. So when I was in Madrid, I made a good friend, Alex Villa, who was an amazing base jumper, paraglider, everything. He was the one who put me in his wingsuit for the first time. We went on this amazing trip. It was like, hey, we're going to do this and this and this. When I was living in Spain, he taught me how to paraglide. So in Australia, you need a ticket, but over there, you don't really need a ticket. You just need to learn how to do it. So I remember running off the edge of a mountain the first time in his wing. And they just believed in me so much. Like, we did do training for it, obviously, but they just believed in me so much, and I believed in myself and my abilities. And I think he just saw the mentality of me wanting to do so much, and I was really adventurous. And he's like, you need to come to one of my hometowns, which is north of Spain, and we need to go rock climbing, and then maybe we'll even get you into base jumping. And I was 100% in. I was like, yep, you've already sold me. So I flew back from London to Spain, and we went on this massive road trip up north, stopping at these different cliffs. And this is the first time I've ever outdoor rock climbed in my life. So we're like climbing up multi-pitch. I think one of them was like 300 meters, multi-pitch climbs. And they're at like the top level of my climbing ability. I remember there was one, he was leading it all, but there was one where I climbed, it was an overhang, or no, before I climbed it, it was an overhang, and I'm like, it's really hard. And I was like, so what happens if I can't make it over? And he was just like, well, probably have to get a helicopter to save us. And I was like, oh my God, I have to actually do this. There was times where I went up the mountain with him, there's times where I was at the bottom, ready to pick him up from somewhere. And the time that I was at the bottom, I remember like sitting in these like mountains. He's like, you have to sit here and I'll come flying through this way. And I was like, okay. All of a sudden, I just hear this sound. It's like this soaring sound. I didn't realize it was so loud. And he just soared straight through the trees. And I was like, right underneath it, be like, what the fuck? How is he doing this? When I saw that for the first time, I was mind blown. I was like, I want to base jump. I want to learn how to do that. And we're planning to go across the border to France to jump the bridges, because that's kind of like where you start. But the weather was really bad, so we didn't end up going over the border. We stayed in Spain, and he was like, we can climb up this mountain, and if the weather is good, I'll let you jump off it. So he said to me, he's like, I don't feel good about this. You're not going to jump. I don't think you should jump. And I was like, I'd just been psyching myself up for at least like 2 weeks to do this. And I just hiked up this mountain, and I'm so ready in my mind, so ready to do it. And the weather is perfect up here. And now you're telling me I have to climb down? A massive thing with base jumping is like all these people, they get in their heads they really want to do this jump, and then they'll go up to the top and the weather conditions are bad, or they're losing sunlight, or there's some reason why they shouldn't jump. But they're like, I've just put in all this effort, I want to jump. And that's usually when they'll go in. That's usually when something bad will happen, because they just be like, oh, I'll just jump. So he told me these stories before, and that's where you really need to be okay with being up the mountain, hike 6-10 hours, whatever it is, and you're like, nah, it's not good enough to jump, it's not safe, I need to go back down. But anyway, he jumped off, and I watched him jump off, and I remember being so upset. I was like, I just want to do this. And I was like, I can't do it if he said no. So I hiked all the way back down. This is something you need to put obviously a lot of attention to detail in, and a lot of time. It's not something I should just do on the side. So I was like, I will leave base jumping for now, and one day I will come back to it. I'll definitely come back to it. But it was just that moment where I was like, I was ready to do it, but I shouldn't do it yet. So that'll be later down the track. Plus the skydiving, wingsuiting, paragliding. It was a hectic time, 2019. It was one of the funnest years of my life.